First, we start off on the interior of the aircraft. Once inside the aircraft, we make sure that the numbers inside the aircraft tin match the hobs and flight times in the aircraft, including checking times until inspection. Next, we want to verify that all the required documents are on board. When that is complete, we move to the switch panel located in front of the primary flight display, and we verify that the avionics power switch is in the off position. From there, we move to the left of the same switch panel and turn the BAT2 master switch on. We wait to hear the avionics cooling fan, and we verify that the PFD is on. Once the PFD comes on, we switch to the systems page and verify that the voltmeter reads between 23 and 25 volts. We then check the flap position light to verify that it is not illuminated. When that is verified, we move back to the main switch panel and turn the BAT1 switch on. From here, we will turn on the nav, strobe, and the landing lights, and check them on the exterior of the aircraft, making sure they all illuminate and work properly. While we are checking the operation of the lights, we will also test the stall warning system. This is done by creating suction on the outside of a small hole on the right wing of the aircraft. We know that it works properly by the sound of the stall horn inside the cockpit. Once back inside the aircraft, we turn all 3 light switches off and move down to the center console by our leg, where we will check the fuel quantity in each tank. Once we have checked the quantity, we want to switch the selector valve to the fullest tank. From here, we move back up to the PFD and switch to the Sensor tab of the Systems page to verify that all of our required systems are operational. When that is done and verified, we can bring out 100% flaps and verify that the flaps light is illuminated. From here, we will turn off both the BAT1 and the BAT2 switches. We will check that the alternate static source indicates the normal position, and check that all the circuit breakers are in. Next to our left leg, we will check that there is a fire extinguisher available to us in case of a fire. Next, we verify that the emergency egress hammer is secured under the armrest in the center of the aircraft. From here, we will move to the exterior of the Cirrus and commence our walk-around procedure. First, we check the condition and the attachment of the COM1 antenna. Next, we move to the underside of the wing and check the condition of the wing fairing at the wing root. After that, we check the condition and attachment of the COM2 antenna on the underside of the fuselage. From here, we will make sure that the baggage door is secure. Next, we check the holes in the static button for any type of blockage. When that is complete, we check the top of the aircraft for any cracks or dings near the parachute cover. Now we will check the empennage as a whole for any noticeable defects like cracks or missing paint. The first part of the empennage that we check is the horizontal stabilizer. We check that the elevator moves freely and all the attachment bolts have their safety cotter pins installed. Next we move to the rudder and we make sure that it moves freely to the left and the right, making sure to check the attachment of the trim tab. We also make sure to check that the safety cotter pins are in place here as well. We move to the right side of the horizontal stabilizer, making sure that the safety pins are installed. From here we will move to the right side of the fuselage, checking for any blockage in the holes in the static button. Once this is done, we will check the wing fairing for any separation from the fuselage. Now check the security of the right flap by giving it a firm handshake and checking the flap rub strip for any scuffs or signs of rubbing. Next we will check the condition and movement of the aileron, making sure to take a look at the trim tab on this side of the plane. Now we check the condition and the security of the wingtip while ensuring that all of the screws are in place. We will check the condition of the nav and strobe lights, making sure that there are no cracks or fogging in the lenses. From here we check the fuel vent on the underside of the wing for any obstructions or blockage. Next we check the leading edge for its condition and the stall strips for their security. Now we will check the quantity of the fuel in our right wing and secure the fuel cap. We will now take out our gas jar and drain each of the fuel drains for about 3 seconds, checking the fuel for water or debris between samples. Once that is complete, we will pour the sampled fuel back into the fuel tank through the strainer side of the gas jar. Once this is complete, we move to the main gear on this side of the aircraft, checking to make sure that the wheel pant is secure and the brakes show no signs of overheating. We check the tread on the tires and look for any brake fluid on the ground surrounding the landing gear. Next, we check to make sure that the cabin air vent is unobstructed. Now we move to the cowl and make sure that all of the attachments are secure. From there, we will check the security of the exhaust pipe. Next, we check the condition of the transponder antenna and we drain the gas collator for 3 seconds. From here, we will check the condition of the front strut and the wheel fairing. Then we check the condition, inflation, and wear of the tire on the nose gear. Next, we will check the propeller for any nicks or cracks. We will do the same for the spinner. Next, we check that the air inlets are unobstructed and that the alternator belt has tension. From here, we will check that the landing light has no visible cracks or fog. Next, we have to check the engine oil. We make sure that there are 6 to 8 quarts in the engine by looking at the dipstick. Once we are done with that, we check to make sure that the cowling attachments are secure on this side of the airplane. We also make sure that the external power door is secure. Then we check that the exhaust pipe is secure as well. Now we check to make sure the cabin air vent on this side of the aircraft is unobstructed. Once this is complete, we move to the main gear on this side of the aircraft, checking to make sure that the wheel pant is secure and the brakes show no signs of overheating. We check the tread on the tires and look for any brake fluid on the ground surrounding the landing gear. We will now take out our gas jar again and drain each of the fuel drains for about 3 seconds, checking the fuel for water or debris between samples. Once that is complete, we will pour the sampled fuel back into the fuel tank through the strainer side of the gas jar. Then we check the quantity of the fuel in the left wing tank with our fuel dipstick. Next, we check the leading edge for its condition and the stall strips for their security. From here, we check that the pitot tube is unobstructed while checking that the wingtip is secure. We then check that the nav and strobe lights are secure and show no signs of fog. After this is complete, we check that the aileron moves freely, and we also check that the left flap is secure. Congratulations, you have just pre-flighted one of Western Michigan University's Cirrus SR-20s.